Good morning. My name is Chris Gregory from Heartland Horseshoeing School, and I've been asked to speak a little bit about the Novell head stall. Dr. Gravely, Brian Jones, Life Data Labs, a company that's been an incredibly big asset to us in our horseshoeing school, has introduced us to Rick Wheat and the Novell head stall. One of the big problems the Novell head stall has is that it looks like a gimmick, and people that know me know that I'm not much into gimmicks, very traditional. Don't use any power tools in my rig, and I don't take new things that come down the pike very easily or very readily. So when I first saw this Novell, I thought, well, I'll go make one of them and maybe use it once a year. And then we were given about 3 shots to most day in a week. Some of the horses, horseshoeing schools don't do the best horses, by the way, in case you're wondering. So we do these bad horses. We'd drug a few, we'd throw down a few, we'd twitch a few. Finally, we ended up starting to use this Novell head stall. When you came back a year later, I bought one, and my wife said, well, that kind of looks like a gimmick. She didn't see the demonstration. I bought it. The next day, we did 10 outlaws and had the Novell on about all of them, and so we bought 10 the very next day. It's been incredible. So it's going to look like a gimmick to you. When you see it work, you'll think, man, it's not going to work for me, but it's incredible. If just a little bit of training and a little bit of common horse sense, you can do incredible things with this head stall. But if you shoe horses for a living, you're going to have to do a bad horse occasionally. And if you have to do a bad horse, the safer you can do it, the better off you're going to be. This is one way to keep you safe and keep you alive and get you to the next horse. And if you're starting a business, the ability to do the bad horse is going to be what gets you a lot of business and will get you a good reputation. And this will allow you to do a bad horse safely, easily, and do a professional job even on a horse that's not treating you professionally. It's hard to do a good job on a bad horse, but making a bad horse stand good is a good trick. Life Data Labs, I don't see their angle on this. They spend a lot of money to bring this head stall and Rick Wheat to these clinics, and so I think they're just trying to keep horseshoers safe and sound long enough for us to buy more formula and sell it, and it must work. But Dr. Gravely, if you get to meet him, he's quite a man, and he's doing a lot of this for us. So if you have a chance to see the Novell head stall, and you have a chance to try it and meet Rick Wheat, you won't be sorry.
Here we have another one of these Hancock colts. This horse does have a halter on it. They said that they had put a halter on it. The horse is not halter broke. But anyhow, it had a halter on it for a while, and I guess it's still on there because they couldn't get it off. And this horse is not halter broke. They put this halter on it in a chute and tied it up back several months ago. Now, if you see what I've done here, I just walked up and I barely touched the horse. Now, if you walk up and try to put something on this horse's head the first time up, he's going to get really nervous about it. And so if you just walk up and touch him and just show him that when you touch him, there's not going to be anything happen to him. And all I'm doing is just barely touching him. And each and every time that I touch him just a little bit more. And I just kind of holding on to him right there just to kind of show him. As soon as he relaxes just a little bit, if you'll notice what I do, I just loosen up on him. I don't try to show him any problems at all. In fact, I try to pet him. Now there, you see, he's trying to ease up right there. Now the first thing I do with this rope is I loosen it. I give him relief. I don't make it tighter, I release it. And so what I'm trying to do is build confidence in this horse. Now we really, really hope that, you don't have too many of these to do. But if you do, you kind of need to know the basis of what we go through with these things and why we do it. Now all we're doing here is just kind of showing him that the rope can be all over him or wherever, and it's still not going to hurt him. Now we want to get this halter off, because you don't want to put your Novell on over the top of a halter, because if you do, it throws it out of balance. It gets it to the point that it's not working on the right spots. And again, if you could have seen this halter had been on there for quite some time. Now here we're going back over with the Novell head stall, and as you see, I go very slow and very easy. I want the Novell part actually up over the nose before I actually try to do anything else with the horse. And with my left hand, I kind of hold it up over the nose of the colt. And this gives me a certain amount of control with him. And he can see that I've kind of got him at this point better. You can see this horse would really rather leave than stand there. But again, this is kind of one of those things that you will probably get into sometime or other. And you've got to take these colts and trim them. You've got to get a way of hanging on to them. Now, if you take these colts at this particular point and you put them in a chute or you put them in stocks or whatever, or you drug them, you don't teach them anything. And you may have to go back and trim them later, or the people is going to have to eventually do something with them, or they're probably not going to have you trim and shoeing or anything because they're not going to be able to handle it. If you can take this time and show these horses exactly what you want of them, man, you find out you've got a lot better customer, a lot better horse to work with. Now, if you notice, all I'm trying to do is get this horse to give me his head and kind of look at me. Now, he's doing that. He's kind of doing that. And he's showing me just a little bit. See, there's the first step he's actually took towards me. And it wasn't much, but it was a little. The novel headstall actually twists when you pull on it, and it bumps certain nerves at certain times. This encourages them to stand still. It also encourages them to come forward when you pull it forward. It'll encourage them to go backwards when you pull the other way. It's got a bend in it for about every aspect that you need your horse to do. If you notice, this horse is giving me his head, but he won't give me his feet. And so all we're wanting to do right now is just kind of hold on to it, and he's kind of arguing with himself. Now, I haven't turned it loose yet. I mean, I have not given him any slack whatsoever. And the way he's going to get slack is he probably has to come to me. He has to make a step. And there he took a step. It wasn't much, and he took it back. But, he's trying. He's thinking about it. It's coming across his mind. And so we want to be able to get this horse forward. Now, if a person would go up and think, well, maybe I've got this all right now, and I can pick up a foot, this is probably what would happen right there. He'd probably rear up and try to stomp you. But what he did do, he turned around and he gave me just a couple of little short steps. If you notice the slack in the rope now. Okay, he's trying to take it out. I'm not. And he moved backwards, and so I put a little bit more pressure on him. And all I'm doing is just holding it. And the novel twists a lot like a handcuff. Now, you see, that time it didn't take him nearly as long to decide to come to me. You see him licking and chewing now. He's kind of proud of himself. He's got it loosened up, and he figured out to walk forward. That's how he loosens it up. By doing this, what you're doing, you're getting a horse that's halter broke and not just will lead. Because once you do this, you can tie a horse up. If you notice, the horse in the background was the first horse we did on the tape, and that horse had never been tied up before in his life. And you notice he's standing over there pretty calm, pretty quiet, taking it pretty easy. He's already been through this little session. And, he learned to stand there. And so you teach him so many more things than just to be trimmed when you do this. So many more things. And so with each and every move you're making, you're building a basis on this horse where you want it. Now, again, I'm not trying to just jerk and carry on a lot to get him going real quick. What I want him to do every time I pull on him, I want him to give to me. I want him just to give just enough to show me that he's coming. And if you notice, there he was. Okay, you notice how he's sticking his nose out there? Now, here he's touched me. Okay, now when he touched me, I walked away. I'll either walk away or I'll pet him, one or the other. And I show him that, hey, in order to get along with me, you got to come up here with me. Now, if I'd have went back to him and let him touch me that way, then what I would have taught him is that he don't have to come to me. I got to go to him. And, this is something we don't want. Now, here you notice I'm trying to just gradually show this horse that I want him to put his head down. With the novel headstall, there's nerves behind the left ear. The novel is very loose, it's crooked, and it sets on certain nerves. Now, if you see, he's getting a little irritated about the whole situation, but that's all right, too. We're just kind of easing into it, kind of showing him that he can't do anything about it. And you see, rather than shaking his head, he's just not doing that. He just don't want to shake his head, because if he shakes his head, he bumps himself like that. Now, when he bumped himself, see, watch him. He's wanting to come up and touch me again with his nose. And see, that's his relief point right there. When he touches me, then I go back and I pet him and I rub him.